Welcome to Sepang for the first round of 2019. This is the third series of Blancpain GT racing in Asia. This year a new name, Blancpain GT World Challenge Asia, to go along with GT World Challenge Europe and GT World Challenge America. We will knit together the story of that as we go through, but fantastic news, 30 cars, a record start to this, the third season. It's hot, it's humid, look at the Malaysian flag blowing. We could have a change of weather coming through. Rain often a feature of the early afternoon here in the tropics, but it's been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to this year, but the dramas of the previous season are well worth looking back. So let's take a look at the highlights of a fantastic 2018 season. What a year that was. So many highs and lows, the thrills, the spills, the action was fast and furious. We have the same mix this year, 6 rounds, that's 12 races, and for third year running, we're starting at Sepang. We need to go down and find out the thoughts of the drivers ahead of this, the opening round, the first round of the Blancpain GT World Challenge. Drivers with Claire.
Yeah, for me, it's the first time for joining with Blancpain Asia from this year. But I know fully Asian racing from, I spent a year from 2013 to 16. I belong to some of the famous big team in Asia with Clearwater and Absolute Racing for Ferrari and Bentley. We are using the new car which we ordered from this weekend, but we cannot get receiving the new car in time. So McLaren UK gave us the opportunity to rent for us the test car.
It's my first ever full season with the GT3 cars, and yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. We're driving with T2 Motorsport team, and yeah, I'm very excited to to get going on the first race this weekend. I guess it's just a matter of getting used to the car, used to the team. Yeah, I'm before that, and I will be ready for the qualifying.
It's very exciting doing a home race, first race here, and been learning quite a lot with the team and also Jasmine. We've been working closely for the last 6 or 7 months, and really exciting new car, still learning about the GT3, and it will be an exciting season.
Yeah, the second driver will be David. So yeah, he's done a lot of GT racing before. He's done Ferrari Challenge and even the Blancpain GT class. So this will be the first time that he's be pairing with me. So yeah, I'm quite pleased with the job he's done, during the practice, and yeah, I hope we can be up there against the other runners.
I was racing for Absolute already last year, and it was a really good run. We really wanted to make a strong impact this year as well, and yeah, I'm really happy to see Wera next to me. We've been doing quite a lot of testing now, and we're feeling really strong for this year.
That's my first time in the Blancpain GT World Challenge Asia. Exciting times, and I'm really looking forward to this year, especially pairing up with Martin. Big thanks to Audi Sport Asia for putting their trust in us to hopefully do a good job this year.
I fell ill last year in the middle of the season, so I was out for a good 8 months, I think. I did a sort of like a test race a couple of weeks ago, finished second. Mercedes is great, and I'm just happy to be racing again.
I think we have a good package. Probably haven't released our full potential yet, but yeah, looking forward to finally see where everybody's at when they go for the maximum. So yeah, quite confident, and we'll see how the weekend goes.
I would say it's completely different because like the way we have to drive the car. I have to switch back to the Cup car next week. Will be like a target to quickly change my mind for the 2 cars. Let's see, but first I'm gonna focus on this weekend. Let's see how it goes.
2016 we had a strong year together developing the car and finished second in Blancpain Endurance Championship. So this year, I mean, it's a whole new project, whole new team. I mean, the level now in Asia, it's super strong, and you see all the lineups of all the Pro-Ams and the Silvers. It makes the racing really exciting, and that's what makes me want to come back here and race. And especially with a top outfit like 888 Racing, it's an honor to be here.
I mean, to me, a race car is a race car. So in the class, I think we will do well. The BMW is going to be really quick this weekend. I think throughout the whole weekend, they're like a couple of seconds quicker than us. So we'll see. I mean, anything can happen.
Well, that was Claire Jedrek catching up with the drivers yesterday afternoon and again this morning. And let's find out the very latest, because Claire is down on the grid, and I believe she's alongside the pole starting car, which is the Absolute Racing number 912 Porsche. And she should have Wan Bo alongside to let her know what it's like at the very sharp end of the grid.
Hi there, we've got Yembo with us, and he is no stranger when it comes to GT3 cars. But this time it's not the GT3 Cup car for the Porsche, it's the GT3 R car. Tell me, is this the first time you've driven the GT3 R car?
Yeah, it's my first time in my first year driving the GT3 R, especially the Porsche GT3 R. Yes.
You must be very stoked though at the positioning. I mean, you put in a very confident and very strong qualifying lap.
Yeah, I mean, the qualifying lap, I think it's just lucky. Yeah.
I don't think it's luck that got you there, but in anyhow, good luck.
Thank you.
So that was Rambo, and in fact, just had a little message passed through to me. Absolute Racing car number 912, the one in which Rambo is sitting, he needed to be downgraded to bronze, and in doing so, that was fine, but he set some very quick times. In fact, he ended up the session fastest. That's why he's on pole. And as a consequence, the panel from the SRO sporting panel has decided to add 35 seconds to his pit stop time in this race and tomorrow. So yes, he's starting at the sharp end, but there is a cloud hanging over that team, and they know what it is now. 35 seconds extra at a standstill. He's going to have to drive like no one's driven before to keep that advantage. Across the other side of the front row, also from Absolute Racing, we've got Tanart Sathianthirikul. We heard his thoughts from before the race a while ago. He's starting alongside. And Claire, like magic, has caught up with Tanart, sitting in the number 911 Porsche.
Well, sitting like a neighbour just next to Yembo, we do have Tanart here, and he's one of the, also known as the Porsche Junior drivers. Now, Tanart, you've got to be pretty proud about your positioning here. It's not quite pole position, but do you think you can overtake Yembo just on that turn one?
Yeah, I will try into the first corner, of course, but obviously, like we play like a little bit of like a team sport here now, so I'm not gonna go for anything like a dive bomb, you know. So take it easy, and if there's an opportunity come, I'll for sure to take it.
Well, I'm just looking at the weather here. The clouds have come through. How are you feeling if the weather changes to a bit of a wet race?
It's okay for me, but yesterday it's also like this, and it doesn't rain. Well, hopefully the same today, but for me it doesn't matter if it rains.
And I suppose the expectations to pass on a little later to your second driver, Philippe, as well.
Thank you. Well, hope for the best.
Okay, thank you very much, Tanart.
So that's the two Porsche runners on the front row. We go to third position next, if I count my way down the grid, and that's Panther AAS Motorsport and another driver from Thailand. It's Vutikon Intrafuvasak, number 918, so it's looking really good for Porsches at the front. And then the best of the rest, Wear on Tan in the number 12 Audi on the outside of row 2. Then Mercedes and Ferrari on row 3, and we get this real mixture of manufacturers that is so important. The Lamborghini, you can spot there, the white car in 7th place on the grid. A fantastic mixture of cars. And the track has been declared wet. We could see the clouds coming in at various points, particularly at the far end of the circuit, turns 11 and 12. They're all critical corners, but we were keeping a weather eye, and the weather has produced. So very good work from race director Ravin there to make that decision now, and that frees up the teams to work on their tyres if they so desire. Now we get the fantastic scene, so it's great to see the people down on the grid, but I love the moment when the cars suddenly are revealed in all their glory as the mechanics and friends and family pull off and we can see all their colours. There's Yuan Bo, Chinese racer, in pole position, but don't forget he's got an extra 35 seconds at a standstill to serve later on. The one McLaren in the race at 720S, we heard from Kei Tosawa before, that's a prototype, and the real car, their first racing car, will come to them for the next round. But it's Absolute Racing first and second on the grid, 9-12 ahead of 9-11. And yes, it's getting darker and darker out there on the circuit, but again, the co-drivers walking off, they'll get their turn after 25 minutes of this race. Right now it's the starting drivers who have to have their focus on what is lying ahead, and certainly the first turn is a very, very tight and interesting corner. It's a tight right followed by a tight left, so they have to keep it clean, not overshoot going into the corner. So just to reiterate, the first round of the Blancpain GT World Challenge Asia for 2019 underway. Start very soon indeed. Time for the drivers to focus. 30 cars, just to reiterate, a record start. This is the third season of Blancpain GT Racing in Asia. The new name, new teams, new manufacturers with different teams, many new drivers and faces in new places. So plenty to consider. And just to reiterate, if you're new to Blancpain GT Racing, the races in the Sprint Series are 1 hour apiece. And the pit window opens for driver changes for 10 minutes in the middle of the race, from 25 minutes into the race to 35 minutes into the race. If you pit after that, you miss the pit window, you have to serve a drive-through penalty. So that really is compounding the shame of those who get the rules wrong. Plenty of manufacturers and more of an Asian slant than ever before, or drivers from Asia and Australasia. Each of the cars has to have one of those. You can no longer have 2 American drivers or 2 European drivers. Last year's champion Martin Kodric and Dennis Lind, both European racers. That can't happen anymore. This will help bring on more and more talent from Southeast Asia. And certainly looking at the driver lineups, that decision has been very, very well received indeed. The fact we have 30 cars here for the opening round, you can see how the wind is starting to blow. The starter, his hair was blowing around up on the starting gantry just behind the SEPANG International Circuit banner across comes to the top of the track. There he is looking down. Hopefully all 30 cars will get away cleanly and we'll get to run down the grid. Just to reiterate, 25 cars in GT3 and 5 more in GT4. And I know for sure when we go to the second round, the 11th and 12th of May, we'll have more GT4 car runners. And we certainly had that last year up in Thailand at the Chang International Circuit. So let's take a look at the grid. 30 cars. And as we saw on the grid, 2 Porsches on the front row, Yuan Bo and Tanart Sathienthirakul, both from Absolute Racing. Panther AAS Motorsport, Vijay Nithra Fuvasak and Wear on Tan, new to GT3 Racing, going great guns in that number 12 Audi. Darryl Young this year, not a Porsche driver. Craft Bamboo Racing have moved to Mercedes, and Yuka Samamoto, Hub Auto Corsa, a team on a real high after victory at Laguna Seca last weekend. Roloff Bruins, Korean racer, and Wei-An Chen. So a real mix again, Mercedes and Audi, as we work our way down the order, down the grid. 30 cars. Let's complete the top 10. Alex Zhao in the 9th fastest car. That's Vincenzo Sospiri Racing, Lamborghini, and Jingzu's son, another Audi entered by Absolute Racing, running Porsches at the front of the grid and Audis as well. Then Burit Virenbakti, Ferrari, and Jeffrey Lee, one of the Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes. Francis Cheer, Open Road Racing. We saw that car off the circuit this morning in the hands of his teammate. No damage done. And David Chipto Biantoro, the T2 Motorsports Ferrari, is 14th. Juvi for Antstone Racing, going very well, the number 17, and I think we'll see more of that in the second race when Naoki Yokomizo's at the wheel, and Chao Li, JRM, the Chinese team, with their Porsche. Hiroaki Nagai, ARN Racing, and I think we'll see a lot more promise. Also his teammate looking very good. ARN Racing have moved to Porsches this year. Morris Chen, Ferrari racer this year, Hub Auto Corsa, 18th fastest. Then Henk Kicks, Be Quick Racing, he and his teammate new to the championship but not new to racing in Asia. And then Jeffrey Ibrahim, Prince of Johor, racing for his first big international race, been very impressive so far, super consistent. Piti Birambakti in the McLaren from Absa Motorsports, and Likalu, Arrow Racing in the one and only Honda NSX. Hopefully we'll have some more of them. 21st and 22nd. Andrew McPherson back for more up from Australia, the Amek Motorsport Lamborghini, and John Shen, Modena Motorsports Porsche. Then Daniel Lau bringing up the rear in GT3, Craft Bamboo Racing. Sonar Kuchukukchu leading the way in GT4. He's in the BMW M4. Then come the Mercedes, 4 of them. Frank Yu for Craft Bamboo Racing, Brian Lee, and on the final row of the grid, yes, 30 cars coming out to play. Setiawan Santoso and Ran Zheng in her Mercedes at the back. So, out of turn 14, we have out of turn 14, the back straight. We've got all 30 cars in 2x2 formation, tidying it up, forming up side by side, up to the left-hand hairpin. They will go round there and they will look for the lights on the starting gantry, and then the 2019 season will be underway. Blancpain GT World Challenge Asia, a new name to tie in with the Blancpain GT World Challenge Series in Europe and the third one in America. Some teams will run across all of those championships. Points can be scored. 4 drivers for the manufacturers will score in each of the championships. They've been nominated, but that's the nitty-gritty. Let's get down to the racing action. Safety car will pull off the car that's led them around on the formation lap into the pit exit. Remember, they've already been around the part of the track where a little rain has already fallen. Through turn 14, can't see from here. The track looks dry at this point, but they'll be looking at the starting gantry. 30 drivers and their 30 teammates in the pits will have their eyes on the starting gantry. Yuan Bo seems some distance ahead. We need the car on the right-hand side of the grid to really pull alongside, and that is Tanart Sathienthirakul, and it's why go 2 abreast, 3 abreast when you can be 5 abreast on the wide start finish straight. Is this going to work? Certainly the number 99 Mercedes. Darryl Young fancies a slice of the action. I sense he's gone from 5th into the lead of the race, trying to sweep around the outside. Looks so Sathienthirakul's got it right, but using real muscle. It looks like he's gone back to 3rd place, but Darryl Young will be, he's normally smiling, he'll be beaming like mad. He's taken the lead into turn 1, a little bit of shunting to do so, but I'd call that very clean. And certainly Sathienthirakul took the wide line, has moved into 2nd place. Yuan Bo back to 3rd, and then Mercedes and Porsche fighting in behind. And the number 12 Wear and Tan driven Audi has dropped back into 6th place, but Darryl Young up the inside made it work. Super start. Very tidy. 30 cars into turn 1, and even more excitedly 30 of them out of turn 1, all going strongly indeed. The 999 Audi down in the pack there. That's Morris Chen trying to make it work, but trying to not cause any troubles at all. But what a start from Darryl Young. Super start to his campaign. He's moved across from racing Porsches the last couple of seasons, but Craft Bamboo Racing leading the way. There is the car just coming out. There, look at that, fantastic. The 99 Mercedes lead away. But look, the windscreen wipers are going. Oh, this could be a factor. So, and in fact, it's a factor for Wan Bo. He runs wide. This is what we call the far part of the circuit. It's where you go to the high. This is where the rain was reported. This is why the track was declared a wet track, and it's has it cost him third position? Yes, Bo is back into fourth. We've had a change of position. He ran wide at turn, let me think about that, about turn 11, has paid the price. He lost a position, he lost ground as well as position. But right now, focus on the front of the race. Darryl Young leading, being chased very hard by Sathian Thirikul. And we've had a spinner, it's the 55 Mercedes from Craft Bamboo Racing, and that is Daniel Au. I don't think that was enthusiasm or over-enthusiasm. That was the effect of rain. It appears to be falling heavily now on the start-finish straight as well. So it will be windscreen wipers all round. Sathian Thirikul really pushing Darryl Young through the final corner onto the start-finish straight. That's turn 15. Gap between first and second one. It looks like it's under a second. It's a 0.427 of a second is the gap first to second. Sathian Thirikul on the headlights, flashing away, seeing if he can upset the driver in front of him. That is Darryl Young. Wide line, tight line being taken there by Alex Au, but he holds on to ninth place in that white Lamborghini. Leading the way in GT4, it's just coming into shot, the BMW M4 of Tsunoda Chikuchu. What I sense now is the car in third place is starting to close in. That's Interafuvasak, so two ties into second and third position. Certainly the 918 Porsche being driven with much more vim at the moment. Now all over the tail of Sathian Thirikul. Fourth place, Wan Bo, maybe not going to make any more mistakes, but certainly that was a big one. Yeah, every single car looking there at the ARN Racing Porsche using those windscreen wipers. Through the sweepers around turns 5 and 6, looking at those now, that seems to be the dry part of the track, but once they start going up the hill, out of turn 9, through 10 and 11 at the top of the hill, that is where it seems super, super slippery. And again, as they come onto the start-finish straight, it looks a bit slippery, and I said that Interafuvasak was getting all over the tail of Sathian Thirikul, doing so again, but his fellow Thai has kept him back, and all this is very, very good news for Darryl Young. Leading the race, able to escape, is the car in fourth place, Wan Bo. Oh dear, a spinner, the one and only McLaren, so he can blame nobody else, and I'm afraid sitting there sideways across the track. That is most unfortunate indeed. We heard from Keita Sawa before the race, but the absent car, number 61, sitting sideways, was 14th in the hand of Piti Virambhakti, but I'm afraid he's been caught out by the rain as well. So Darryl Young coming up to complete the second lap. His windscreen wipers moving all over the place as they're being used, but 911 in second place, Sathian Thirikul not using his at all. It's always, we've got a bit of bodily damage on the back of, I think that's the number... Was it? No, it's not the number 70. We've got the safety car has pulled out onto the circuit. I saw some damage on the back of one of the Mercedes. I'll try and work out which one that was. Down about 15th position. So just looking to see. So Darryl Young had escaped to the tune of 2 seconds, but the safety car is on the track. They would have all seen that in race control. You can see them looking at all the screens up in race control. A great addition being able to see that. Has been streamed all around the world, and it's because, of course, the McLaren is sitting backwards in the track. So for Piti Virambhakti, he's tumbling down the order, but he's not going anywhere. But of course, being spun where he is, it was around a corner, the corner that caused him to spin, but it was also a corner that causes nobody else to be able to see him until they're almost upon him. So correct decision. Turn 9, very tricky corner indeed. So there's just a chance to see the GT4 battle. And it's the BMW in the lead of that class, as we expected it would be. Tsunoda Chikuchu down the side, safety car, all the drivers will have noticed that. So nose to tail, but really the points of this race, in my mind, the commentator's mind, is the fact that what a brilliant start from Darryl Young. Started the race in 5th, hugged the pit wall, went up the inside, and made it stick. I really had to work hard into turn 1 because Wan Bo wasn't too happy about potentially losing the lead, but up the inside came the Mercedes and the Porsches were demoted. Don't forget they were first, second and third on the grid, and the Mercedes was down in 5th place, but certainly brilliant start by Darryl Young for Craft Bamboo Racing. So everything that should be done is being done. down at the front of the grid, bunching them up. Darrell O'Young. Well, let's take a look back at the restart. Certainly it was Darrell O'Young will enjoy watching this tape many, many times over. Here's the look. Rolling start. The Porsche on the right-hand side of your screen, Sathi and Thirikul, seemed to hang back a little bit. I was concerned about that, but it's look at the pit wall side. You cannot see Darrell O'Young's Mercedes. It's third on the left-hand queue. He immediately decided to go to the left and just seemed to get the power down beautifully, possibly a slightly greasy track. And he was being followed by another Mercedes up the inside. The Porsches that were first and second from Absolute Racing seemed to have been beaten, but they brake very late into the corner. Obviously on a wider line you could brake later, but O'Young was not to be denied. Juan Bo slid a little bit to the outside, and Sathi and Thirikul said, well, I'll be the better of the Porsche drivers at the front. He moved into second place, very clean and tidy in behind. A little bit of argy-bargy with the Mercedes in their wake, and certainly there's one in the bunch behind in about sixth place. It could be the Indigo Racing car. I fancy it is actually Roloff Bruins. I think he's the one who took the bash up the back, and his car is running in sixth. 1, 2, 3. Yes, that would tally. You can see he's got left rear bodywork damage. Don't think it's snagging on a tyre, so he should be okay. So while the McLaren is being cleared, the safety car will continue to lead them round for one further lap. And the message is in that the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. His starring role will have come to a close, but the McLaren will be shifted, or has been shifted, and all should be clear. So that is why it's been dictated that will withdraw. So for Darrell O'Young, yes, his lead of 2 seconds has been removed from him, but as long as he can, he's in the driving seat, so to speak, when it comes to the restart. He's the one who decides when they go. As long as the lights on the starting gantry inform them that it's clear to do so, the safety car has withdrawn, then off he will go. As long as there's no overtaking before the start-finish line, those behind can go as well, but he's the driver who will be first onto the throttle. Car right at the back of the field, running very, very wide at turn one. It's one thing doing it behind the safety car, but quite another. So Tsunaka Chikuchu leading the way in the GT4 class, up into 24th overall. Safety car in this lap, just to reiterate the message. Still the windscreen wipers being used in some of the cars. I sense it's brightening up again. In fact, we've got a bit more blue sky now. Still some cloud, but it suddenly became dark when the cars were forming on the grid. That little bit of rain started to fall around turn 11, and very quickly a wet race was declared. Now it looks though it's driving. So a slight hiatus, it's about to come to an end, and I'll just welcome into the commentary box Claire Jedrick. Claire was down on the grid. Claire, before the start of the race, could you feel rain in the air?
To be honest, no, I didn't. I didn't think it was going to happen. It literally happened as we walked off the grid into the pit, and the drop just came down. But I did also get word that it was already spitting down on the south side.
Yeah, that's what we'd been told, and so it came to be. Hot and humid, well, that's a given with the territory here, but you just had a chance to see the replay of the start. That was quite some move by Darrell O'Young. And
tell you about it, it's separating the boys from the men, because this is where the experience comes in. With the Porsches especially, in fact, if I'm not wrong, the Porsche drivers and the Porsche cars should do quite well in the rain.
Great stuff. It's always good to have the voice from someone who's spent time in the pit lane. They can get the field down on the grid. We are about to go racing all over again. The safety car in this lap, so the drivers had a little moment to assess the changing weather conditions out on the circuit. This time around, I sense it's drying out. Still windscreen wipers going, but the field needs to bunch up as much as it can. I talked about bodywork damage. It's not on the back of the Indigo Racing Mercedes, is on the side, actually, by the looks of things, between the front and the rear wheels. Roloff Bruins, number 97. There he is in the line. And he's got David Chen, the 999 Audi. I fancy that might be starting to make a charge in the race. So it's the Solite car, but it's the other side that has the bodywork damage. Anyhow, we're about to go racing again, and Sathi and Thirikul has decided he is not going to let Darrell O'Young get the drop on him. He's tucked into the slipstream. We know the Porsches are mighty in a straight line. Here comes the move. Mysteriously, Darrell's not offering him the inside line. If you're going anywhere, you're going to go around the outside. You know, he might. Change in third place. That was very, very positive indeed. Wear and Tan nailing it down there. Thought there was going to be a change, but he had that under control. And just to point out that in and among all of that, Yuan Bo had a moment just before the safety car, and he's fallen back. This is the pole starter, don't forget. He's now down in 7th position. So we'll see if this is the start of a decline or if he can fight his way back. Quick enough to put it on pole. Number 8 on our screens there, that's Hiroaki Nagai. Used to seeing him in an ARN Racing Ferrari. This year, one of the teams that's changed to Porsches, but a team that went the opposite direction to some. Porsche to Mercedes is leading the way. Craft Bamboo Racing, Darryl O'Young with Tana Sathian Thirukul. Oh, and it looks very wet indeed, and a few cars really getting the tail, but they kicked up the moisture there. A, it's raining, and B, the water was sitting in the painted curbs. Surprise, surprise, that's not the first time that's happened, but a big twitch from number 911. That's the car in second place, Sathian Thirukul, and that's allowed Wear on Tan to get very, very close indeed. He's sharing with Martin Rump, both very enthusiastic before the start of the race. And the safety car has been triggered again. I thought it was its starring role. It has another role to come. And one car I just want to point out before the restart, I thought that David Chen might make moves. He's already gained a couple of positions in the 999 Audi. Looks so he's up into 4th place. That's very impressive indeed. Just in the background of the shot, there are the top 3. Still Darryl O'Young in front. But the Tianchi Audi, there it is in 4th place. The green flash across the nose. So we didn't have plate changes right at the front, Claire, but certainly it was very close to happening. Here's the field kicking up more and more moisture off the circuit.
Well, these guys, just before the driver change, it's quite interesting actually right now. I am looking at Francis Chiao, who didn't have such a good qualifying, but he's up in 12th position in car 21 for the Pro-Am category.
And we've got coming into the pits number 12. So Wear and Tan was going very well. Is that a drive-through penalty, or are we getting a change of tyres? No, we're getting a standard tyre change by looks of things. Quite a few in through Fumasak from second place, from 3rd place, has also decided to come in. Darryl O'Young has not pitted. He's leading the race. Out come the wet weather tyres. Certainly, as we saw, Claire, at the start of that lap, with the tails coming around a lot wetter than it was literally the lap before.
Absolutely. This is a 50-50 moment right here. If it keeps on raining, the guys with the wet tyres are just going to blast away with this. But if it dries up, they're going to be pea nowhere.
Exactly so. If you've got 2 or even 3 cars, as Absolute Racing have, you can change on some and not on others. But for Darryl O'Young, yes, he's got teammates, but none of them near the really sharp end of the field. So he's waving the flag for Craft Bamboo Racing, and he is sticking out. I think that's the right decision for now. Let's keep an eye on the sector tyres. Hard to do so because they take so long getting through the first sector. We can't give you any clue to the changes. And, of course, to compare it against what they did behind the safety car isn't very helpful. So, yes, we've had a few laps under the safety car. This, its second period, but it's not staying out long. It's coming in at the end of this lap. So the T2 Motorsport Ferrari sitting in the pit lane at the moment, not going anywhere, getting a new set of tyres. David Chipto Biantoro later in the race will hand that over to Rio Haryanto, but it's a bit of a slow getaway, maybe a second loss, but they all count in a championship as competitive as this. Performance balance through the BOP, cars should all be equal, but it's all really a case of maximising the moment and definitely having a strong 2-driver combination. But a lot of these cars are Pro-Am. One driver's going to be quicker by some margin than the others. Car number 17, one of the Mercedes with a quirky race livery, Anstone Racing Juvet at the wheel. He'll hand over data to Naoki Yokomitsu. And I sense that if we have a place change, 918 seems to be just out ahead of number 12. So number 12 have got into the mix there. No, I think 3rd and 4th they were. 3rd and 4th they stay. So what we're going to have to see is, will Darryl O'Young come in this time around? I must say, looking at that shot, safety car still on the track, that part of the circuit looks dry.
And I have to admit that. It looked like a third of the drivers actually came in, so they've taken the risk to change over. Just looking down the rest of the list right now, Ibrahim has gone all the way up because of the driver change. He's actually sitting around in P19 just now. So things are pretty stable there with Jeffrey Ibrahim.
So the field very, very bunched up indeed, as it should be behind the safety car. Leading them round, Darryl O'Young started 5th, decided that was nowhere near good enough, and we're green again. The safety car has pulled in, and Darryl O'Young will have to try and weather another attack, and as before, he shows the outside line to Sathian Thirukul, and rather careful on the braking, as thank goodness they were into the first corner. But why does the Audi get close? Because he brakes later. This is a really, really good driving from David Chen. I fancied this driver pairing Andrew Couto on board as his teammate, and that's the car that time after time is gaining position, gaining ground. But look at this, start of the 2019 championship. A Mercedes leading from a Porsche, from an Audi, then we have another Audi, then a Porsche, then a Ferrari. So 4 makes of cars in the top 6 positions, exactly why GT racing is where it's at across the globe at the moment. Darrell Young pushing as hard as he dares at the moment, still slightly on tiptoes, Claire. Windscreen wipers going. He is the driver who will be first to see what's changed since the last lap.
Absolutely amazing. The driving has just switched onto defensive driving straight there to Young with Tanat right behind him.
In GT4, it's still the BMW, the lone BMW leading, and every time we get a restart, he's able to build about a 2-second gap, and then it seems fairly comfortable. Oh, it's getting tighter and tighter at the front, and it was that Yuan Bo coming up the inside, hit the back of his teammate Sathian Thirakul. I'm afraid it's a tricky corner there, but that was braking way later than everybody else, going from 5th and tagging Sathian Thirakul. Is there any damage? Well, Pride, and please get off the grass. That won't really help at all. You have to feel. This is a driver who was challenging Darrell Young for the lead. Darrell Young still in the lead, but his first challenger has been removed. Now it's Mercedes, and up into second place, David Weyen Chen in the Audi. So changing all the time, but the story of the race has been the 999 Audi getting closer and closer to the top of the field. Number 912, Yuan Bo, started from pole position. Don't forget, he's got to serve an extra 35 seconds at his pit stop. I think he might get a warning, if not more than that, for the assault, and it was very much an assault on his teammate. Unfortunately, down into turn 9, and out of second place went Sathian Thirakul. He'll come through in maybe about 8th position. It was getting really, really close, but still leading the race. Darrell Young, a huge lead by regular margins. Is it half a second? It's nearly the best part of a second. So Darrell Young leading the way, but you really sense that David Chen is going to start closing in. Yuan Bo started on pole, fell to about 7th. He's up to 3rd. But I think that was a little bit robust. Again, he's wide in turn 1. He doesn't seem to get the braking done, can't get the confidence to commit to the second part of the corner, and that helps the first 2 cars escape. And then into tucking in behind, I would suggest, yes, there is the white Ferrari, number 27. Well, it's a silver, red and black car. It looks fairly white on screen and on a dark day here at Sepang, but certainly making progress, as you'd expect. Sakamoto going better and better, the Japanese driver. There he is, Yuya Sakamoto in 4th place. And in behind, the car that I fancied was damaged, so Roloff Bruins really starting to make it work. And what's happening here, side by side, and that's 12th place. You have to take your hands off to Jeffrey Ibrahim. His first GT3 race, he's mixing it not only with 24 rivals in the GT3 class, but with changing weather conditions on a very tricky circuit. So doing a really good job, but getting a bit of pressure now, and the car doing the pressing is number 28, Maurice Chen. Will we have a change for the lead? Well, it's going to come sometime soon, or is it? Certainly robust is Darrell Young's middle name, I think, today. He was robust up into turn 1, and he came out with the lead of the race, and now he's having to be robust as 1 becomes 2, becomes 3, because tucked in behind David Weyen Chen has got company. He's got Yuan Bo, the pole starting Porsche driver, onto his tail, and right on his tail, Yuya Sakamoto. Soon we'll have 4 cars nose to tail. Car 16 overtaking. It's under investigation, but that is what we call the no-no of no-nos, John Shen. And that's a car that goes very well in the hands of his teammates for Modena Motorsports, but let's hope he's in the clear, because that warrants a fair bit of punishment if we overtake under a safety car. We've had 2 safety car periods. They're trying to go up the inside, look to the outside, tucked up the inside, seems to just have more traction, spitting a little bit wide, a bit of bodywork just went loose out of turn 15, whether it was from under the 999 Audi that's just taken the lead because it was on the track, or it's from the car itself, I cannot tell you. Maybe it even came loose, trying to duck up the inside of Darrell Young into turn 15, but the move worked. Can Darrell attack around the outside into turn 1? Well, he's going to have a look, but this might open the door for Yuan Bo in the Porsche to go into second. No, it won't. Oh, Young covers that off, but it's been a very good quarter of a lap or so for David Chen. So now in the lead of the race, the Tianchi entered Audi leads the way, so Mercedes back into second position. Third is Yuan Bo. Not so much spray from the cars at this point, Claire, and all along Yuya Sakamoto getting closer and closer. A better exit from the corner from turn 4 there for Sakamoto in the Ferrari. This should enable him to have a good run through the sweepers of turns 5 and 6, but it's blocked off by Bo there. And Roelof Bruins, he never drove like this last year. He's really got the bit between his teeth, the Korean racer for Indigo Racer. His car, don't forget, had a little bit of bodywork damage on the sign. It's not slowing him, maybe it's improving his form. And we've got a yellow flag up at turn 11. That's the corner at the top of the hill. That's where the rain started falling. And let's find out who it will be. They're getting up to that part of the course very soon. This is turn 9. This is where Yuan Bo assaulted his teammate, Sathian Thirikul. And Sathian has had a pit stop. He's down in the pits. Double waved yellow on the approach to the corner. And it looks like the ARN Racing, yes, it's Hiroaki Nagai, ARN Racing Porsche beached in the gravel. So great work by the marshals, but an awkward position. He seems deep enough not to be able to get the car out on his own. But I must say, David Wyan Chen, having taken the lead of the race, is pulling ever further clear of Daryl O'Young. So Audi maybe just best suited for these changeable weather conditions. As you can see with the long shot there, looking over the grandstands, the grey sky is off now at the other end of the circuit. Turns 3 and 4, maybe getting the rain treatment, but certainly the dry part of the circuit was around turn 11. So what do you reckon, Claire, as a local expert?
Well, I mean, comes to the circuit here, it always does that. It moves on to the other side. But like I said, I think it was a massive risk for these guys because it was a massive downpour to change. So these guys, you can see, they've gone all the way down the grid. Bielski's up there, Jia's up, to all the guys that stuck it out. These are the AM guys out on circuit, and they've moved all the way up the grid. I mean, what I want to say, though, as well, the question down for the drivers is, would this level the field with the new rules having an Asian driver? And it seems to be. I don't think I've ever seen, in the first 8 laps, the top 5 ever been this close.
No, we've had some races, but where we've had really close stuff. But you're absolutely right. These are the weather conditions. I know we've had the safety car periods where they should actually be spread out. And you've got to go down to the pits very shortly and find out what's been happening. A lot's been happening while you very kindly came up to join me. So Claire Jedrick's going to go down and catch the drivers when they come in to make their pit calls. GT4 class, well, it looks like it's going to be a GT4 lead for the BMW team studio, Claire, as you go down. Best of luck down in the pit lane. And yes, leading from a pair of the Mercedes, it's very much a case of a great run for Sunaka Jukuchu. Number 11 is in second place in class. That's Brian Lee for GTO Racing. But it's very tight for second and third, because right on his tail he's got Setiawan Santoso. Now, having looked as though he was going to really start pulling clear of Daryl O'Young, it was 1.1 seconds on the start-finish line, maybe finding another tenth or so around the early part of this lap. But David Chen really driving very well indeed. There he goes through turn 11. This is the top of the hill, passing the slid-off Porsche from ARN Racing. Hiroaki Nagai will be cross with himself, but that's a tricky corner in the dry, and when it's a little bit greasy, or maybe considerably wetter than the previous lap. Oh, and our race leader off the circuit on the approach to turn 14. So you're trying to balance the car through the downhill sweeper of turn 13, and obviously just not quite right for when you want to do the braking. 12 sweeps left into 13. You're turning right over a little bit of a crest. You come down to 13 carrying too much speed, and that's allowed everyone else to close in. And Roelof Bruins said, why should I be fourth when I could be third? And even better, why don't I go into second place? So the Korean racer, MG Choi to some, Roelof Bruins to his mates up and down the pit lane. And suddenly Daryl O'Young was first, went back to second, now he's back to third. He's about to be passed for fourth. Yuan Bo pushing hard on the outside. But Roelof Bruins, he's just decided he's taken the brave tablets because he was fifth in this grouping. And again, Yuan Bo's run wide at turn 1. That's giving a chance for Sakamoto to maybe make a move. No, oh, Bo came so close down into turn 2. He's the last of the late breakers. Just ask his teammate, Sathian Thirikul, and he very nearly clouted the back of Daryl O'Young's Mercedes. While he's doing so, around the outside, around through turn 5 and 6, goes the Ferrari of Sakamoto. But does he want to be in front of Bo going into a corner? Not the safest place to be, it must be said. So he opts for caution through turn 8 there, and tucks back into 5th place. Safety car back onto the circuit. Safety car drivers can be absolutely exhausted after this race. In the pits, out of the pits. I can't tell you exactly why as yet. Pit window is now open, and he's picked up, well, that's not the race leader in the safety car. I'm trying to see who's tucked in behind. Number 28, it's the second of the Hub Auto Corsa Ferraris. That's Maurice Chen at the wheel. And the beached car, apparently they're struggling to get that off. That's the number 8 Porsche, Hiroaki Nagai, was at the wheel when it went off into the gravel at turn 11. So the safe decision. But with the pit window open, we have visitors. Don't forget, quite a few of the cars decided to come in for wet weather tyres earlier in the race. Has it cost them the race, or will it come their way at the pit stop? So there is Hiroaki Nagai's car with 29 cars still going around the circuit. It's quite hard for the rescue crew to find a clear gap in the pit lane. Is the tread on those tyres? Or are they slick? Like slick tyres for the second stint for the number 918 Porsche. And that's the car. Inthra was going very well in the race, and he is going to be handing that over to his teammates, which is Alexander Imperatori, Swiss racer. Very much. And now just looking for change. And Roloff Bruins, having gained the positions, has fallen back a bit, and don't understand how he's suddenly back in the line. I can't tell you what happened there. He definitely moved up to second, yet he's got 3 of the cars he's passed in behind him. But the race leader, Chen, is coming in. GT4 Mercedes at the front of that battle. That's number 199. That's Naomi Ranzang, and she's from GT4. So our race leader in. The scramble has started. Who's going to stay out? What do the people work out on the pit wall? What are the weather conditions on the far side of the circuit? So many permutations. It's a 10-minute pit window. Do you pit early? Do you pit late? Does your team weather forecaster tell you that there is no more rain, or is more on the way? So many decisions. As you can see, we started the race with 30 cars. We seem to have about 40 of them in the pits. It's super, super busy, and some of the Absolute Racing cars seem to be blocking the exit of their teammates. That could be trouble for them. So many cars they're running, and they were all at the front of the grid very much. Their Porsches and their Audis. Hard to know where to look next. Literally, the pit lane is jammed. I think there are only about 6 cars out on the circuit, and some of those, including the Arrows Racing Honda, coming in. So difficult. Double parking in the pit lane. Well, one car that's broken clear at least is number 13, Absolute Racing. Sun Jing Su has handed over to Frankie Cheng Kong Fu, who for this lap will have the track to himself. Must be said that had pitted very early in the sequence, and it could be in a masterstroke. They're down in 24th position, will clearly rise. And here's the double parking I was talking about, and they're going to still haven't got the number 8 car fully clear off the curbs. Don't understand. Now is the time with an empty track. This is the golden moment to get it in. Hiroaki Nagai would love to hand that over to his teammate. And the race leader, 999, that before the pit stops absolutely squashed the Modena Motorsport Porsche totally in his way. He's lost 5-10 seconds, and even more time is lost by the polka dot number 17 Mercedes. Mechanics having to be pulled out of the way as cars were coming in and out. Such difficult conditions. And there are going to be many drivers who are feeling very, very hard done by. The ones who were in early were then double parked on the outside, therefore blocking their exit. Those that were doing the blocking will have gained a huge advantage. But it's very, very unusual. You have all 30 cars trying to come in at the same time, but the driver that seemed to lose the most, 2 of the cars right at the sharp end of the field. Number 17 lost so much time being handed over to Naoki Yokomitsu. And 999, Andre Kuto, will have been fuming, taking over from David Chen. Totally blocked in, literally under the commentary box, so I couldn't see it immediately. But a lot of drivers really will be fuming the fact that everybody came in at the same time. But they could see what was happening out on the circuit. They were the ones that wanted their team to bring them in, because weather conditions are changing. It looks brighter to my eye, but with just over half an hour of this race, the opening one of 2 races in the first round of the 2019 championship. And the safety car is out on the circuit, coming in at the end of this lap. Looks so the Honda's struggling to get away after its pit stop. We go from full to empty as the couple of cars shoot past the start-finish line. Safety car still leading someone out on the circuit. Can't quite see you, but it's coming in. So we're halfway through this race. We thought the championship had been given a shape for this, its 3rd season. New name, new faces in new places, but certainly all the permutations have been given even more of a twist. Rain just starting to fall before the start of the race, falling during the race. Now it's easing off. There's the safety car coming up towards turn 15, and Claire Jedrick very quick to the pit spot, and she's gone down to the pits and caught David Chen. He's a driver who's got a lot to complain about. He drove beautifully to take the lead, but his car blocked in the pit lane, and he's down with Claire in the pits.
Okay, great drive there by David Chen. David, you just managed to pass Daryl O. Young there. Tell us the conditions out on circuit. How difficult were they?
It was quite tricky because part of the circuit is completely dry And then the back part is damp. It's not fully wet, but it's damp, so very tricky for the GT3 with slicks. I think our car was set up very good in this condition, which is the reason why I was able to start from P8 all the way, manage to P1.
So, in hindsight, a great decision not to change to wet.
Yes, correct. I think we made the correct decision.
Thank you so much, David.
Thank you very much, Claire. Very good to hear from David Chen. And he knows the Tianchi racing team very well. Finished third in the Asian Le Mans Series GT category. But look at the racing on the track. It's like the start of the race all over again. The safety car withdraws. Looks like the number 16 car. That was one of the cars that was a slightly blocking Parker. Now Matthias Besch, the Swiss racer, has taken that over from John Shen, and showing how it should be done. Being challenged by the pink, white and black Craft Bamboo Melvin Moe-driven Mercedes. But when this sorts out, it looks like we had a slight collision, or certainly side-by-side body blocking. I think it was number 17 Mercedes trying to make a move down through turn 2, but certainly making moves was number 16, trying to see where that actually puts him, because there's a lot of sorting out in this first lap without the safety car. And Andre Couto took over from David Chen. We heard from David down in the pits, David Chen, and his teammate Andre Couto winding that 999 Audi up. But at this point, to my eyes, it looks like the track has dried out in those intervening laps. So anybody who thought they might fit wet weather tyres will be feeling very silly. But I must say, the tyres I saw going on all seem to be dry weather tyres in the pits. But quite hard to watch 30 cars take their pit stop all at the same time. Side-by-side racing. Don't worry, the 77 Mercedes keeping out the way. He's in GT4, not as quick, but Matthias Besch being pushed very hard by Chris van der Drift in number 910. The Porsche tucked in on its tail. Certainly Melvin Moe in the 55, the pink, white and black Mercedes, yes. Real mix, and right in there is Andre Couto. So he's in the Audi that worked his way from 7th to 4th into the lead of the race. And Claire is down with Darrell Young in the pits. Let's find out from the driver who made the lead his own. Down with Claire.
Here with Darrell Young, and a phenomenal start there on the inside from 5th place all the way. You managed to make it stick into T1.
Yeah, they definitely had a late reaction to the light. I had to like basically sit up in my seat to even see the light. Once it went, I went. And then I think Bo had a bad start, and Vudukan was boxed in, so I managed to get on the inside and pass them both, and that was a good move to get up there, and a lot of safety cars after that with tough conditions.
You know, and having come in this series like last year, how competitive in the top end of their grid this year?
Yeah, you can see the times are super competitive, but that's like all Blancpain championships now anywhere. All the GT World challenges around the world are very competitive, very tight times. So yeah, it's really good racing, and I really enjoyed it, and we'll see how this race goes. Still a long way to go, but we'll have to push and see if we can hold the position.
And brilliant decision there, of course. A lot of teams, a third of the teams made the decision to go to wet tyres.
Yeah, it was just raining patchy, so we decided to stay on slicks. I really don't feel like wet was the right choice at all. There was no standing water, so I guess some people took a gamble. I just tried to not take a gamble, and I paid off.
Brilliant, thank you so much, Darrell.
Always good to hear from Darrell Young. I tell you what, the highlights director won't know where to look. I've never seen a race as tight as this in Blancpain GT racing in Asia. Everywhere you look, the cars are 3 or 4 abreast. I can tell you that Roloff Bruins, his fabulous job in the Indigo Racing Mercedes has paid off, because he's leading the race. Looks shows the Be Quick Racing Audi going very slowly. Unfortunate debut for them in the championship. Just handed over to Henk Kicks, and he's doing the wise thing, keeping out of the way as he comes up towards the final corner. So Gabriele Piana, the Italian racer, leading in the Indigo Racing Mercedes. On his tail he's got David Russell in the Hub Auto Corsa Ferrari in 3rd place. Christina Nielsen, welcome to Asian racing, and she is closing in. This battle we're looking at here is not for the lead of the race. This is, believe it or not, fighting fast and furious for 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th and 12th. And in that 7th place is Chris van der Drift, lights on. He's just ahead of Matthias Besch, so 9-10 ahead of 16, tucked in behind. Order changing and changing fast. Gabriele Piana, 97, leading way. He's 8 seconds clear of David Russell. Christina Nielsen, 6.7 seconds back, with Alessio Picariello right on the tail. We've got driver penalties to be served, unfortunately. You can see on the screen, number 17, number 12 also being pinged for overtaking under the safety car. Martin Rump won't be too happy about that. He is in 17th, and that will cost him as well. So that's number 17. That's about to pick up and drive through penalty. Naoki Yokomitsu. That was a car that was considerably blocked in during the pits. during the pit stop. Fastest lap of the race, set last time around by the driver in 4th place. He fancies 3rd. It's the number 88 Mercedes, Craft Bamboo Racing. Alessio Picariello, started by Jeffrey Lee, really flying out on the circuit. So looking at this battle for, believe it or not, now 6th place. Chris van der Drift, Matthias Besch tucked in behind. Looking for Andre Couto, he's now fallen behind. 55 in the mix as well, which is Melvin Moe. Jazeman Jafar, what can he do? He's in 9th position. He's on the tail of Andre Couto, 2 of the quick drivers. Plenty of quick drivers. Track conditions drying out. Gabriele Piana sitting on a comfortable lead at the moment. 8 seconds clear of the Ferrari of David Russell. So for Indigo Racing, Roelof Bruins drove the race of his life. Certainly we saw him race last year, but nothing in comparison to how he was making it work today. Racing as MG Choi today, and MG certainly got to fly in the race. Now we're having a place change because Couto is passed by Jazeman Jafar. Jazeman quick in any country around the world, but a driver who really, really wants to do well on home ground. And the Prince of Johor, Jeffrey Ibrahim, who did the first part of the race, his first race, really, really impressive in very, very competitive and tricky conditions. And building on that, a place gained up to 8th place now for Jazeman Jafar. Next car in front of him. Just looking, he's got to catch up with Modern Motorsports. It looks as though another place is being gained by them. Matthias Besch making his way forward. Don't be confused by that number 55 Mercedes. I was confused for a second. He's running not behind 16. He is on the track, but he's a lap down because, of course, that was one of the cars that came in to get wet weather tyres. So Melvin Moe is down in 24th position. Just to reiterate, Gabriele Piana leading this race and comfortably. It was 8 seconds, it's now 8.3 seconds. So the 97 Mercedes of Indigo Racing, he's sharing with MG Choi, driver who raced last year. As Roelof Bruins just drove absolutely superbly in the run-up to the pit stops. But also a lot of the drivers further down the field were double parked in the pits. When you went down there, Claire, Jedrick, absolute madness. Almost 3 abreast in the pit lane.
Oh, absolutely. And I tell you what, the interesting thing is when they were talking about the tyres just now, it was a big gamble for everybody who was out there. And just looking at it now, we can see Nielsen, who took over from Daryl O'Young. She's just making it stick. She's not as confident and experienced in this car yet, but she's doing 207s now, so she's getting up there and managed to keep her placing. But I can expect Van der Drift to make up a lot of pace here as well. He's made it up. He didn't have a good qualifying session. Jafar as well, which is looking car 888. We're going to see them keep up the top end of the grid.
Well, the only driver, frankly, out there who's not got really hot and hairy competition around him is Takayuki Kinoshita. We've just been looking at his car and, you know, very comfortable in the lead of the GT4 class. So look at the graphic. It's Gabriele Piana, David Russell, and Alessio Picariello. He is the driver on the move. He just set the fastest lap of the race. It's not good enough. He's going faster still. He's closing the gap. 3.9 seconds down on David Russell as he starts another lap. 3rd place and absolutely flying. The Belgian racer for Craft Bamboo. Of course, it's been a great day for Craft Bamboo Racing. We saw Daryl O'Young take the lead of the race, but it's a teammate. It's the 88 car with Picariello at the wheel that is really, really driving superbly well at this stage in the race. Gabriele Piana still leading, come down very slightly. David Russell in the number 27 Ferrari is closing in. I expected 918 to really start making moves up the order, but
It would seem there'd be a bit of disappointment there, especially with how much teammate went the 10 out just now. Doesn't look like they've actually moved up the grid as fast as we thought they would. Everything has really kind of expanded and magnified out the circuit already.
One of the confusing things is we just had a chance to see Alessio Picariello go faster and faster. He set the fastest lap of the race last time around. He's in 3rd in that red, white, and blue and black Craft Bamboo entry, number 88. There it is, differentiated from his the teammate cars. And what differentiates at the moment, he's the fastest driver on there. 2 minutes 4.1 in these very, very, well, they were tricky conditions. That is almost the pace of the pole times when you look at the grid. So, in fact, it's faster than pole times.
2:03, I think, was
pole for this race
was the baseline.
Yeah, 2:03.934 for the second of the qualifying sessions, but for this race it was 2:04.883. It is officially no longer a wet track. It's very much a dry track. Past the GT4 class-leading BMW, and Alessio 3.9 seconds down. He's gained another. Actually, he's taken about 1.5 seconds out of David Russell's Ferrari. So if you stick with the 88 Mercedes, the car right in front is a Ferrari. Going into the final corner, that looks as though it's down to about 1.5 seconds. So it's been another supreme lap from the Belgian racer. J-Fly Racing, it says on the tail. So there's the Ferrari in second place. There's a Mercedes in getting closer and closer. It's Alessio Picariello. There's the GT4 BMW in the background, and the gap back to fourth place. Christina Nielsen is growing and growing. Looks as though Christina's got company tucked in behind number 59. That should be Kantasak Kusiri. Just checking as they cross. Yes, he's closed down to 1.3 seconds. Fourth is the 99 Mercedes, down into turn one. Fifth, windscreen wiper still going. I decided it was a dry track. Driver decided it wasn't. Car 59, investigation, overtaking during safety car period. And 99 and 911 in the pit lane under investigation. Well, as you saw, it was a completely crazy place, but some cars were certainly causing difficulties for others. We'll keep an eye on potential penalties. 99, Christina Nielsen, one of the two in that tango.
I think this could be. She's got a good chance here for a podium for her category there for all these silver class. Just looking, her next competitor would be Kuto in class, who doesn't look like he'll be able to make up that pace.
Well, Kuto is in the wars. He's suddenly got, he's in 8th position, but he's suddenly got a pair of Absolute Racing Porsches coming right onto his tail. 912 with Dennis Olsen and Philip Hamprecht in 911. Here they come, and already making a move up the inside, or trying to go up the inside, is Dennis Olsen. And perhaps there to pick up the pieces is Hamprecht. You can see the field slightly stringing out again now. Number 17, you know, has tumbled down the order. That lost out in the pit lane. Yokomizo, that had the penalty as well. That was a drive-through. Trying to keep its nose clean there. In the AM class is the AMAC Motorsports a Lamborghini. Now take a look. 16. Matthias Besch, hot on his tail. The 888 Mercedes. Yasemin Jafar. Very slight gap. And then you've got Kuto, Olsen, Hamprecht, all super close together. Censored Andre Kuto. Now the track is drying out. The Audi doesn't look as handy as it was in mixed conditions, but look in the background, still dark clouds around parts of the circuit. Have we had the last of the rain? 16.5 minutes remaining. There may yet be some more. Now Chris van der Drift, who's been given some respite because the battle behind has lured Matthias Besch to look in his rearview mirror up the inside, just cutting away. But we could have had Yasemin Jafar making a move into the final corner. Here comes the move, 59 and 99 going out to play. And a change of position, the Audi of Kantasak Kusiri up the inside of Christina Nielsen. Local knowledge, Thai driver will have raced here many a time before. And the Danish racer, she has not. But welcome to the championship, Christina. It's hot, it's humid, and it's very, very competitive. So Claire, with all the change around in the pit lane, those who came in to put wet tyres, we've had this whole order shaken around. Must say, no problems at all. Clearly in the pits, super clean for Gabriele Piana, taking over from MG Choi, Indigo Racing Mercedes. Everyone else seems to have a story to tell, but driving competitively, lapping in the 2-minute 5s, as is the car in second place, but lapping consistently in the 2-minute 4 bracket is the driver in third place.
Well, it's a massive difference on that choice right now. Like I said, a 50-50. But it's really swapped the grid around. And even if you can see there, you've got a couple of the Pro-Ams right up there with the silvers. In fact, they're quite far up, the Pro-Ams. Of course, unfortunate with Hamprecht, like we spoke about a little bit earlier with Kuto. As we just see back on our screens there, Gabriele Piani.
Well, he's running on his own. He's nearly 9 seconds clear, but the battle behind between David Russell and Alessio Picariello, under half a second they crossed the start-finish line, the battle for second and third. We also just saw Yasemin Jafar going past Matthias Besch, so he's up to 7th place. Haven't heard the last of him, I don't think, but out how far clear? 8.9 seconds clear, coming around towards the end of another lap, looking very tidy, unfast, and the driver of Gabriele Piana's standard, no worries at all, unless he's seen something in the sky that we haven't. He wants to go around the AM AM-class Honda there. That's still got its windscreen wiper going, maybe more out of habit than anything else. But then you look all the way up, and there's that second battle for second position. Most certainly it is. We've had a change because Picariello's put the Mercedes into second past David Russell. Well caught up by the camera crews there. Russell will try and fight back in the Ferrari, but lap after lap you saw that Mercedes getting larger and larger. So Gabriele Piana has shown he doesn't just drive Porsches very well, he's super quick in a Mercedes as well. Interesting, out of turn 2 you can just see a bit of spray coming out as they went into the compression there, so it's a little bit damp off the racing line. I think Picariello is going off the racing line in that 88 Mercedes because he's just using all the track and that little bit more. Wobble over the curbs there from David Russell, trying to keep up through turn 4. But to all extents, as we've seen from the pace of Picariello, it's a dry track, Claire.
Absolutely, but I think Picariello was going to overtake Russell anytime anyway, based on his lap times. But quite interestingly, we can see there Nielsen there, Kusiri. This is going to really pan out the next 6 laps here, keeping that pace to see if he can really shift around those top 2 and 3 positions.
Yeah, you'd have to say Gabriele, having had this race so super close, yes, bunched up a few times by the safety car, but the very nature of the race, how competitive, it was really, really tight. But Picariello, he's got, let me see, 13 minutes remaining in this race, looking to make a move. Andre Couto was in the mix, and has he just come into the pit lane? He's certainly dropping down the order. Down as we watch, he fell from 14th to 15th. Is he about to fall to 16th? Yes, he is. So has he gone off the circuit? Just looking to see him for that 999 Audi that played a masterful role. You got to speak to David Wyan Chen down in the pits. He did a really, really good job. But right now, the smile is on the face of Indigo Racing. Their Mercedes leading the way. 12 and a bit minutes remaining, and lap after lap in the 2-minute 5s. And across the start-finish line, rumble past for another lap. Another 2-minute 5-second lap. Waiting for Picariello. He'll come through. What's the gap? It will have come down 7.0. So he's taken not only a position on that lap, he's gained 1.8 seconds. But you could do the maths as time just about for that to get nose to tail. But I'm sure Gabriele Piana, if he sees the second Mercedes getting close, will have enough in hand. But the star in the second part of the race, Alessio Picariello, absolutely flying in that 88 Mercedes entered by Craft Bamboo Racing.
Look at that, we're just looking down the back end of the grid there. Sebastian continues right in front. 888 overtakes Jafar and Van der Drift. So
yeah, well, he's got past with his nose on the start-finish line, but Van der Drift has the inside line, the Kiwi racer, holding the tight line, and that's going to allow Matthias Besch to close in as well. He could pick his line behind them in the Modena Motorsports Mercedes. Bit of a slide there out of turn 2, and momentum lost by Chris Van der Drift. Drifted to one side, moved back over. He's raced here enough times over the years. He knows the line out of turn 2 into turn 3, but this is the battle effectively for 6th, 7th and 8th position. And I don't think we've seen the last of the place changes. Van der Drift back ahead of Jafar, so nose in front on the start-finish line, couldn't take the inside line into turn 1 to take that 6th place, and Jasmine Jafar will have to continue fighting. But really, the fact he's able to be at that sharp end of the grid shows how Jeffrey Ibrahim, his teammate in his first international race, did such a good job in that opening stint when, let's face it, conditions were really, really tricky.
Absolutely, I think he's done a fabulous job there with Ibrahim. It was something to be quite proud of. To actually remain at the top of the grid, which is quite hard, and to be honest, there with Christina Nielsen as well, who's still making it 6. She is 28 seconds behind, but she's 3 seconds behind Kusiri, so there's still an opportunity there with Nielsen, but oh well, it might be a tough call. Something happens to Kusiri.
Right now, Claire, I think you've probably got to be primed to go downstairs to prepare for Parc Fermé. Can we be assured that you see Gabriele Piana, who's first, Alessio Picariello and David Russell as your top 3? We can't, and that's the beauty of GT racing.
Drama always happens in that last lap.
See you find, but certainly at the moment, sitting on a lead of, well, it was 9 seconds, it was 8 seconds, it was 7, it was 6. There is a bit of a theme going on here. Alessio Picariello giving chase all the time. The driver who's still trying to overtake all the time. The 888 Mercedes. Jasmine Jafar briefly got into 6th place at the start of this lap. He's right in behind Chris Van der Drift in 7th this time. Still chasing. This time he might look for the inside line. He'll take the toe of the JRM Porsche down the start-finish straight, not quite close enough to dive by on the inside, but you sense they're being slightly delayed. Those behind given a chance to close back in. Dennis Olsen, lights ablaze. Number 9-12, and I think Philip Hamprecht as well should be closing in. So 6th through to 10th could be almost nose to tail in the closing laps. Who is going to make a move? Number 9-10 is still working his magic. Chris van der Drift sharing the JRM car with Li Chao. Resisting the attacks. Jazeman Jaafar, if not trying at every corner, is looking at every corner through the sweeps, turns 5 and 6, looking for his moment. But Chris van der Drift, so many years racing on the Asian scene, he knows Sepang very well indeed. Delighted to see we can see the mountains in the background. That means the visibility is clearing. That's very good indeed for the driver of 97. Being chased and chased very hard. The gap is coming down all the time, but Gabriele Piana in that 97 Indigo Racing Mercedes in the background of the shot. There is the chasing car, Alessio Picariello. 3rd place and falling back, the Ferrari of David Russell, but he's got a comfortable cushion over Kantasak Kusiri, 16th second clear of the 4th place car. So there are first 3 runners. 88 in 2nd place into the final corner of this, their 22nd lap. Looking back for Kantasak Kusiri, the number 59 Audi, there it is. That is the gap, and is he being caught by Christina Nielsen? No, very much even Stevens between them. If anything, Nielsen dropping back very slightly. There's the battle for 6th place. Number 9-10, the Porsche of Chris van der Drift, tucked in behind the 888 Racing Mercedes of Jazeman Jaafar. Have his tyres had their best moments, or is he just waiting and biding his time and seeing if there are any mistakes going to come from Chris van der Drift? But the Porsche looks very much under control in that battle for 6th place. Onto their 23rd laps. Leading the way in GT4 and doing so handsomely, Takayuki Kinoshita. 2nd place car, not going badly at all, almost matching it for pace. In fact, starting to cut in. Number 11, the GTO Racing Mercedes. Tony Fong, we saw him have a spin this morning, but he's starting to close in, 10 seconds down. Have we got a problem here for Kinoshita? 2 minutes 24. He was 1.5 seconds slower last time around than Tony Fong. And Tony at 2 minutes 22 and fastest in class, in fact, is Ringo Chong. But he is some way back. He's a further 20 seconds behind in the GT4 class. There 199 is Alan Yeo, Australian racer. Is about to be lapped by Kinoshita in the BMW. There in the background of the shot is the 2nd GT4 runner. That is Tony Fong. Catching all the time. Will this be a dream start to their season? Another driver still flicking on the windscreen wipers from time to time, but certainly taking chunks out of the class leader's lead. But we've got a little bit under 7 minutes remaining. Will that be too little for him? But they're both in the same shot. Maybe the BMW can't even see him. There are a couple of GT3 runners between them. 99, that's Christina Nielsen holding down 5th place. She was in the battles when it got really tight. There's her teammate, one of her 2 teammates from Craft Bamboo Racing. That's Alessio Picariello. Well, it was 9 seconds. It was 4 seconds last time between the 97 Mercedes and the 88. You can see it's down to about 1.5. Well, sorry, it's a long shot. 2.7 seconds. So the 6 minutes are going to be very, very long minutes there for Gabriele Piano. The Italian driver ahead of the Belgian chaser, Alessio Picariello. The track is driving, sweeping through turn 2. You can see the gap is tumbling. I'd say with 6 minutes remaining, he's going to be able to get close. At this pace, he should be able to go past, but Gabriele Piana is not going to open the door for him. The number 97 Indigo Racing Mercedes up into turn 4. Switch there on turn in, just came up the little rise, and you have to turn very sharply to the right. And the wonderful sweepers. Wonderful if you have a car that handles. Here they are, 5 and 6, turns 5 and 6. Wonderful stretch of circuit. Now starting to see the tail end of the top 6. Jazeman Jaafar, well, looking at 99, that's Christina Nielsen in 5th place. In behind, another car under investigation. The car in 3rd place, under investigation for possible overtaking during one of the safety car periods, and that's the car in 3rd place overall. Great result, potentially in question for Hub Auto Corsa. Yuya Sakamoto started the race, and David Russell, the Australian racer, is bringing it home. Will they be allowed well to keep third place. They're not under threat on the track. Kansak Kusiri in fourth place, the number 59 Audi. He's 16 seconds down on Russell, so with 4.5 minutes remaining, he's not going to claw that in. But the driver who is clawing it in, going wide out of turn 14 over the curbs. It's the battle for first place. 2.7 seconds around on the start-finish line last time around, going past Tony Fong, who's running second in GT4. No delay for either of the GT3 runners. I thought Picariello had braked too late into turn 15. He gathers it all together. The Belgian getting closer and closer. Even more momentum out of that final corner. He got the power down earlier. He should gain even more down to the start-finish line. 2.7 second advantage has dwindled. It's down to 0.53 of a second. The gap first to second, 4 minutes remaining. 2.5 more laps, therefore 3 laps surely at this pace they will have to do. If he can back it off, it might be just the 2. Can Piana stay in front for 2 more laps? Alessio Picariello hard on his heels. 7.7 seconds back for David Russell's Ferrari in third place, but all eyes on this battle between first and second. 2.2 seconds gained last time around, 1.6 seconds the lap before, 1.4 second the lap before that. Puff of tyre smoke, braking hard for turn 4 over the curbs on the exit. More momentum carried by the chaser. Picariello, you're not going to overtake through the sweepers. Turn 5 and 6, hard on your own. Certainly not somewhere for side-by-side racing. Piana has been there, he's seen it, he's done it, but Picariello knows the circuits in Southeast Asia all the better. Will he have an advantage up his sleeve? Jean-Marc Merlin in GT4, lights flashing, GT4 leader now right in front of the overall leader. Is this the moment? Picariello, he's not waiting for a second opportunity. Into turn 9, he dives up the inside, still a little bit of argy-bargy, a little bit of bump. GT4 BMW cannot get out of the way. Picariello takes the lead, but well driven by Kinoshita to keep out of the way. But I thought if he'd stayed on his racing line, he couldn't disappear, he had to go somewhere. He might have allowed Piana to fight his way back, and then another of the GT4 cars very much in the way, but Picariello is not taking no for an answer. He went up the inside at turn 19, and Piana slightly blocked by the GT4 class leader on the exit. The deal has been done, so it's not a question can he hang on for 4 minutes, because he doesn't have to hang on anymore, because Picariello has worked his way through into the lead of the race. So Craft Bamboo Racing had a big smile at the opening corner on lap 1 when Daryl Young leapt from 5th into 1st, but it's the sister car, Gabriele Piana sharing with MG Choi, has now been passed, of course, by Alessio Picariello. So 88 now into the lead of the race. Jeffrey Lee started, Alessio Picariello has built on that. And so Craft Bamboo Racing led the opening lap of the race. Now they're leading on the penultimate lap of the race. Will there be time for one more? No, he'll back it off. Now, there's the GT4 class leader, the BMW. Takayuki Kinoshita. Oh, it's getting fast and furious, and 99 losing ground. Christina Nielsen running wide, and this should be the last lap of the race. Not for them, they're about to start their last lap, and now we're having place changes. Nielsen just lost 2 positions because Chris van der Drift, this eternal battle with Jazeman Jafar, going to the final lap closer than ever before. He did get his nose in front, he's not going to be off on the inside line. He hopes he's got enough of a toe to carry more speed into turn 1. Looks wide on the exit, he's going to try and cut back. Oh, Chris van der Drift knows how to drive Sepang very well indeed. I'll offer you nothing at the inside of turn 1. I'll be on the inside for turn 2. Christina Nielsen fighting very hard to try and stay with them, but they were faster. They passed her into that final corner of the penultimate lap. And Jazeman Jafar, they got the Honda up ahead of them. He'll be out of the way at turn 4. But up the inside, this is the move, surely, where Jafar waves the Malaysian flag. Up the inside of van der Drift. He's braked, but too late. Van der Drift alongside, but it's all right. The power is down for the Mercedes. He should be able to hold on to now what is 5th place. He fought for that lap after lap. Van der Drift drove in an exemplary fashion to try and resist him. And now the 888 Racing Mercedes up into 5th position. There are going to be place changes behind because Matthias Besch fancies a pass of Christina Nielsen as well. But it's all changed in that little battle. That was fighting over 5th place, but of course out front, Alessio Picariello. The clock has almost counted down to the end of the hour. He worked his way up through the order, worked hard, caught Gabriele Piana in the second of those Mercedes. It looks though it's going to be victory in a famous win for Indigo Racing. It is not their day today, but certainly they'll be very pleased indeed with 2nd place. But Craft Bamboo Racing, so long the Porsche runners in this championship. Now we have a new championship name, Blancpain GT World Challenge Asia, and the winner of the first race of the new renamed series will be Craft Bamboo Racing, will be Alessio Picariello. 2nd place will go to Indigo Racing, and in 3rd place, David Russell. for the number 27 Hub Auto Corsa Ferrari. Really closed in at the end. Potential penalty for him, though. He's under investigation. Let's ignore that for now. We know the top three at the end of the race. GT4 honours will be taken by Kinoshita by about 12 seconds from the Mercedes of Tony Fong. That's in the background. You can see the blue Mercedes in the background, but it's in GT3 it's 88, I beg your pardon, from 97, which is Picariello from Piana, and 27 Russell in third place. Super close, so much racing. The highlights will be absolutely fantastic. Gabriele Piana must have thought he was building on the work of MG Choi. Looked so he had it all under control. Nearly 10 seconds to the good, but on a slippery track. It was the place where Alessio Picariello decided he was going to be the star, and he really drove a beautiful, beautiful race. And behind that top three, Kajsak Kusiri eventually ended on his own in fourth place, and then behind came the battle in so many ways. Jasmine Jafar finally getting past Chris van der Drift, and really had to do it the hard way going onto that, the final lap. And there is Jasmine Jafar, fifth place, Chris van der Drift in the 910 Porsche. Well, Alessio Picariello, absolute star. And don't forget, it has to be reiterated, a lot of the drivers, as Jeffrey Lee and Alessio Picariello get to celebrate the victory, were hampered in the pit lane, and almost everybody came in together as soon as the pit window opened. The weather was changing, and then we had double, even treble parking in the pits, and certainly some cars were really rather disgusted, unfortunately, to lose as much as 30 seconds, waiting to be pushed backwards, pushed forward to give them space. But hats off, Alessio Picariello, absolutely brilliant chasing drive. In GT4, it was all the way going to be the BMW Team Studi car, but hats off, it must be said, to Tony Fong and Brian Lee. They got to within 10 seconds at one point, and suddenly the BMW crew had to pick up their heels and get charging. But there is our race winner, so Kinoshita brought the BMW in to win GT4, but winning overall, and a Pro-Am pairing at that. Alessio Picariello winning from the top silver entry of Gabriele Piana and MG Choi. But for Jeffrey Lee, who should be waiting, and Alessio Picariello under the winner's arch, and breathe. That was fast, that was furious, that was difficult, and I cannot wait to see Alessio's face when he climbs out. Jeffrey Lee, he wouldn't have predicted, but look, you can see the smiles all over. That's what it means. First race, they put the marker down like a greyhound. Claire's down there to catch words, but I think there's a fair bit of hugging that has to go on first. And look at Alessio, Belgian driver beside himself. That was a fantastic run to the finish. Absolutely nothing could give you to suggest results like that, but an extraordinary race. Changeable conditions always make it exciting, but 30 cars really drove an almost flawless race. But Claire has wasted no time, and she's down with the winners, the very, very happy Jeffrey Lee and Alessio Picariello. Claire.
Okay, we got Picariello and Jeffrey Lee, an absolute win in the last 2 laps. I just missed that. Tell me what went down. That frown turned upside down.
Man, I was confused. I thought this was for Pro-Am, so I thought we were fighting for P1 Pro-Am. I didn't know we were P1 overall. So when I saw the checker flag for me, I was like, what's going on? Like, yeah, the team bounced back for a difficult qualifying. We were really fast in the first 2 test days, but struggling yesterday and today. And then the condition, of course, helped us, but Jeffrey did a great job, kept it on track, and then, yeah, I had to finish the job.
Thank you. Jeffrey, you look cool and calm and collected.
Yeah, because my job, really, I wasn't really expecting. Okay, we were lucky we had some safety car thing, and also, but the track, the condition was tricky. You know, rain would start dropping, so in the end, I was getting closer, but I kind of take it easy because I was really looking ahead, see who is, you know, what the chance we have. Then I think, well, yeah, we are already close enough. So, yeah, I just tried to keep the distance, and the last safety car helped us great again. So then, of course, Alessio just bring home, did a very good job, and still even beat all the silvers. So, yeah, I'm really happy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Claire, for catching up with Alessio Picariello and Jeffrey Lee. You take what comes your way, but you have to say Alessio grabbed that with both hands. A sensational win for Craft Bamboo Racing. They will have enjoyed their change from Porsche to Mercedes, but so much happened. let's refresh our memories by taking a look at the results. Victory, we know, for Jeffrey Lee and Alessio Picariello. Second place for Ricardo Bruins, also racing as MG Choi, and Gabriele Piano, so Mercedes first and second, and Ferrari third place. David Russell bringing home after Yuya Sakamoto started for Hub Auto Corsa. And BT Birombakti and Kadasak Kusiri, the tie pairing, up into fourth place. Quiet race towards the end. All the battling was in behind, and Jazam and Jafar built on the work of Jeffrey Ibrahim to take fifth place with the Prince of Johor, after finally on that last lap getting ahead of Chris van der Drift, who drove so well, building on the work of Chow Lee. Yuan Bo started in pole position, had that longer pit stop, but for Absolute Racing came through to 7th position overall. Modern Motorsports enjoyed their run with Matthias Bresch bringing them home in 8th position. Craft Bamboo Racing, their second car, 99, really ran well. Christina Nilsson just in the top 10. Am winner in 12th place overall was Ben Porter, sharing with Andrew McPherson, and the top car in GT4 was the M4 BMW that was brought home by Takayuki Kinoshita, driven very well indeed by Sonaka Jukoku, but it must be said that they were chased and chased hard indeed by GTO Racing, who were the best of the Mercedes crew, but they took that victory for BMW at Sepang. We had 30 starters, and I would suggest at the end we had 28 of them home. Certainly a delay for the ARN Racing Porsche. We saw that in the gravel, but look at the weather conditions. It was bright before the start of the race. We had a little flurry of rain just to put the drivers on edge. Then it came down semi-properly, but look, by the end we could see it was being proved. It was a dry track if you were brave, and Alessio Picariello proved the brave can rise to the top, and he worked his way up the order in that 88 Mercedes to take victory. And there it is under the winner's arch, the Craft Bamboo Racing entry. The GT4 winning BMW, bottom left of your picture, car number 81. And of course we have the Pro-Am and Am honours for other drivers as well. They'll be making their way to the podium. The Am class winner, the 51 Lamborghini, bottom right of your picture. Good to see the Honda NSX in the mix as well. That was there in the Am class too. And many drivers have many stories to tell down beneath the podium, but I would suggest for a lot of teams they're just relieved to have got through that race. There were so many situations where things could have gone wrong. The racing was tight, the track was sometimes dry, it was sometimes wet, 30 cars out for action, new teams, new combinations, so many factors to be put into the mix. But it must be said, everyone performed really very impressively indeed, and a lot of smiley faces down below the podium. A lot of pats on the back, and there may yet be some place changes, because certainly a few teams and drivers under investigation for passing under the safety car pit lane infringements, but by golly was it busy down in the pit lane. And certainly the teams had to guess what Pirelli's wet ones or dry weather tyres to put on at the pit stop. Some even came in and wrecked their races by prompting for wet tyres in the first part of the race. We had safety car periods ×3. There's a man with a very snazzy broom action clearing the gravel off the track. But we're all set now for the podium.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of Race 1 of Blancpain GT World Challenge Asia at Sepang International Circuit. We will start this ceremony with the overall winners. We welcome with applause in 3rd position, in car number 27, Yuya Sakamoto and David Russell.
So there we have the 3rd pairing of David Russell and Yuya Sakamoto leading out. So clearly, thank goodness they haven't been dinged with a penalty. They're under investigation, but for Hub Auto Corsa, a team really on the rise. 2nd place, Gabriele Piano.
And in 1st position, car 88, Jeffrey Lee and Alessio Picariello.
Okay, so there are the winners, and surprising, the winners always have more spring in their stride. Alessio Picariello cannot contain himself, and Jeffrey Lee delighted as well. Left-hand step of the podium, just to point out, Gabriele Piana, now a Mercedes racer, and MG Choi, who raced as Roloff Bruins last year. Absolutely sensational race from the pair. Didn't end up with that fairy tale win, but if you told them 2nd place would be theirs when they lined up on the grid, they'd have been very happy with that. They started 7th through to 2nd place, but for the winning crew, what a race for the 88 crew. They rose from 12th on the grid. That's where Jeffrey Lee started. Couldn't even see the car that was starting on pole position. It would have been so far ahead, but picked up $10,000 as a reward for the team So that's an even greater sweetener at the end of the day, but the smiles tell the story. And so time, it might have been a little bit hot and sweaty in the cockpit, but it's always time for a bit of champagne up on the podium. And so for Jeffrey Lee, quick on the track, slow on opening his champagne, so Alessio Picariello shows him how it's done and sprays him down at the neck. So, as I said before, so many stories to tell. For Hub Auto Corsa, they kept themselves out of the orders, certainly gained position in the pit lane. And you grab what comes your way. And, they came through overall. So plenty more podiums. We have the Pro-Am podium, the Am podium, and the GT4 podium to enjoy. All coming our way very soon indeed. And just to reiterate, the overall winner was the Pro-Am class winner as well, Alessio Picariello and Jeffrey Lee, with Picariello showing why he's the pro in that car, absolutely flying through the race.
Last ceremony, we welcome with applause in third position, Triple A to Jeffrey Ibrahim and Jasmine Jafar. In second position, car 59, Burid Barumbakadi and Kantasa Kusiri. Once again, in first position, in car number 88, Jeffrey Lee and Alessio Picariello.
So there we have our top three. The overall winners, also the winners of the Pro-Am class, and very proud of their work. On the left-hand side of the podium, the number 59 Audi crew had such a strong run in that race. Birimbakti and Kantasak Kasiri, and on the right-hand step, smiles around with their trophies. Jasmine Jafar on the left, and on the right-hand step, Jeffrey Ibrahim, Prince of Johor. What a result. His first international motor race, and he's up on the podium. And let's face it, super competitive race in super tricky conditions as the rain swept in, went away. Safety car periods twice, if not, sorry, 3 times bunched up the cars, and you can see the pride, the beating of the chest, the heart. But what a start to a career for Jeffrey Ibrahim. But for Alessio Picariello, the overall trophy was fantastic. To get the Pro-Am honours as well is the icing on the cake for the pair from Craft Bamboo Racing with their Mercedes. And I think every single driver up on that podium deserves a champagne moment, but some of them saving their overalls. They've got to go racing again tomorrow, so... Oh dear, I'm afraid Alessio Picariello may not have had the best line there with that, the girl on the side of the podium. She's now got to go and change clothing, but to get some new eyes. But joy unbounded. So another chance to look down at the first 3 cars on the right-hand side of the screen, then the Pro-Am runners tucked in behind, and the GT4 winner, the BMW, beautiful-looking BMW M4, was down in the bottom left of the picture. More trophies to come.
In second position, in car 21, Francis Chia, Michael Sorajaya.
And the Honda pair from Arrows Racing, Alex Liu-Likalu and Philippe Ma. They take third place in car class. Second place goes number 21, Open Road Racing, Porsche crew, Francis Chia and Michael Surajaya, and the tall figure of Andrew McPherson and Ben Porter up onto the top step. Great to have the AMEC Motorsport crew up on the top step. Andrew McPherson looking lively already with the champagne. He's uncorking it. He's nobody's fool. Except... The trophies are awarded to the Honda Racing crew from Arrows Racing. You can see that Andrew McPherson is nursing his bottle of champagne. Ben Porter, I think, knows what's coming his way. He's going to be the first to be spraying. Second place crew. Really good run for the Open Racing crew. Francis Gia enjoying the action up on the podium, and Michael Suriyadar. And then the winners' trophies to Andrew McPherson and Ben Porter up on the top step. They'll be delighted with that. Looking for a photo. Is that bottle going to go off first? Andrew McPherson smiles around. Great to have them up from Australia. Really enjoying their racing. and so much action out on the circuit, and it's worth pointing out they came through to finish very well indeed in 12th overall. So the champagne for the AM class runner in GT3, enjoying the action. And for all that, Tadra McPherson, he's let all the air out of that bottle. So many stories to tell after this, the opening round. The first ever Blancpain GT World Challenge Asia event after 2 seasons as Blancpain GT Asia. And what a fantastic advertisement. So much clean racing in really, really tricky circumstance, and so much exciting racing. The honours overall, Jeffrey Lee and Alessio Picariello. They have to do it all over again tomorrow, but it will be in the morning, so less chance of rain. Another roll of the dice. But for people watching all around the world, your first taste from Sepang. We hope you loved it. Dark clouds over Sepang, waiting for the final podium, for the GT4 podium. What a firecracker of a race, the first ever race of the Blancpain GT World Challenge Asia. And here come our AM top 3. In 3rd place, Team iRace.win, Setioan Santoso and Ringo Chong. Second place, what a great run from Brian Lee and Tony Fong from GTO Racing, both those Mercedes crews. But it was BMW honours. It looked as though it was going to be their way this weekend, and certainly for BMW Team Studio, Sunaka Jukuchu and Takayuki Kinoshita did what was expected of them, and they took that class win, did what they needed to. The closing laps of the race, certainly GTO Racing were coming good, but BMW Team Studio Steely had it all under control. Second place from Team iRace.win. Sorry, Team GTO Racing, Team iRace.win, they're on the right of the podium, and BMW Team Studi. Takayuki Kinoshita and Sunaka Jukuchu. They took some wins last year, got stronger and stronger, particularly when racing on home ground, but they've started their 29 campaign with victory and a $3,500 check to make it all the sweeter here at Sepang. All to do. Go racing tomorrow morning. This race started at 4:15. Should be different track conditions because tomorrow's race starts at 10:50. And here in the tropics, this time of year, the rain tends to come in the early part of the afternoon. Conditions should be cooler. Not cool, it's Sepang after all, but cooler than this afternoon. We had track temperatures in the mid-50s. Certainly trying to preserve tyre life was always a factor. So the fourth and the final podium ceremony. We had overall, we had Pro-Am, we had AM, and now the GT4 runners. They have to do it all over again tomorrow. They cannot wait. I tell you what a fantastic start to this, the third Blancpain GT Series in Asia. So quiet satisfaction up there on the podium. All eyes turned to tomorrow. I'm looking forward to seeing this race all over again because so many things were happening. Every corner, every lap. Was it going to rain? How hard did it rain? Did they really need to make that move? Certainly in certain counts down the pit lane, there will be some concern over a little bit of robust driving when the track were conditioned. But let's take a look at the highlights. So much happened here at Sepang for the opening round of 2019. Here they come. Wind before the start suggested rain might come. It was declared a wet track. Look for the Mercedes on the left-hand side of the screen. 99 on the windscreen, almost kissing the pit wall, going past the two Absolute Racing Porsches that started on the front row. Jan Bo in the middle of the pack, and Satyan Thirikul trying to go around the outside, but up the inside was going Darrell Young. He was determined to take that lead, and up he did from 5th to 3rd. In behind, very, very tidy indeed. You can see the windscreen wipers starting to go. The rain was starting to fall around turn 11, making it very tricky indeed. Lights are flashing from the second place, Satyan Thirikul. His teammate tucked in behind, and now proper rain. Discussions on the pit wall. Do you bring them in for wet weather tyres or do you leave them out? Making moves. Well, a little bit unfortunate there, the 999 Audi given a bit of a push into a rival, and unfortunately for Satyan Thirikul, that was him, but he was given a push into the back of it. It wasn't his fault, and then the order kept on changing. Darrell Young went a little bit backwards, having led the race early on. GT4 was being led by The BMW team Studi M4, we saw him in the gravel up at turn 11, bringing out a safety car, was the ARN Racing Porsche. 2x2, 3x3, that's how we like our racing. Bodywork damage on the 97 Mercedes, but it was to work its way up to second place before the pit stops. Brilliant run by MG Choi. Was going to hand over to Gabriele Piana, but the pit lane, when those cars all came in for their pit stops at the same time, went absolutely crazy. There was no space for them. But right now, the story of the race in the second half was the chase of Alessio Picariello in the 88 Mercedes, looking to make a move, and as they came up on the GT4 class leader, made the move up into turn 9, a bit of a kiss as well for Gabriele Piana. So the Belgian racer around the outside into the lead of the race. He wasn't to lose out. This was a battle that just kept on giving. Jazeman Jafar in the 888 Mercedes eventually getting past Chris van der Drift's Porsche. That was 5th place overall, but no answers for the pace of Alessio Picariello. Took the lead that he would share, the win he would share with Jeffrey Lee. 2nd place, backing off at the end, Gabriele Piana. 3rd place, David Russell in the Hub Auto Corsa Ferrari. A GT4 by 12 seconds or so at the end went to BMW Team Studi, but victory today to Craft Bamboo Racing with the 88 Mercedes, Alessio Picariello and Jeffrey Lee. So there we have it, the first of the 2 races here, the opening round of the Blancpain GT World Challenge Asia. Victory to Mercedes, and Mercedes won 2 with Ferrari in 3rd, but rest assured the Audis and Porsches will be fighting back when we get to race 2 tomorrow morning at 10:50 at Sepang.